Abyddinus, author of the Assyrian history, the Sibyl, and others on the Deluge and Tower of Babel. The remaining 26 chapters of the book are chiefly occupied by several important extracts from the work of Alexander Polyhistor concerning the Jews, which include long passages from the lambic poems of Theodotus and Ezekiel on events in Jewish history. The spurious letters of Solomon to Vaphrys, king of Egypt, and Saran, which is Hiram of Tyre, with descriptions of Jerusalem and other matters by various authors. In the next group, books X to XII, Eusebius gives examples from Clement, Porphyry, and Diodorus of the plasms of Greek authors, both from each other and, as they argue, from the much older scriptures of the Hebrews. The testimony to their antiquity is drawn from chronography of Africanus and from Tatian, Clement, and Josephus. In book XI, Eusephus proposes to show the argument of Plato as the representative of Greek philosophy with the Hebrew scriptures, adopting a threefold division of ethics, dialectic, and physics. He notices the moral teachings of the sacred writers, their literacy methods, accurate reasoning, and correct use of significant names, their knowledge of the natural world, and their contemplations of the true being of things unseen, with chapter 1 through 9. He then quotes the comments of Numenius in his sayings, "What else is Plato than Moses, speaking Attic Greek?" and Plutarch's treatises on the EIO of Delphi 10 and 11. Other points of comparison are the ineffable nature of God, his unity, the second cause as contemplated by Philo, Plotinus, Numenius, and Amelius, the third divine power of the Psi-Platonic eponymus, chapters 12 through 30. The nature of the good and of the ideas as stated by Plato in the Republic and Timaeus is illustrated by quotations from Numenius, Philo, and Clement of Alexandria, 21 through 25. The existence of evil power, the immortality of the soul, and the divine image as taught in the Alcibiades of Phaedo and illustrated by Porphyry's answer to Boethus on the soul, the creation of the world and the heavenly bodies and goodness of God's work, their changes and dissolution, the resurrection of the dead, and the final judgment are all brought into comparison and illustrated from Timaeus, Republic Politicus, and Phaedo, and from fragments of Plutarch on the soul. In the book XII, the comparison of Plato with the Hebrew scriptures is continued on the simple instructions of children, the need of faith, the qualification of rules are described in the laws in Georgius and the Republic, chapters 1 through 9. The picture of the just man and his fate in the Republic, paradise in the Garden of Zeus, and the origin of mankind, male and female, in the Symposium, the deluge, the right foundation of law, religious training, the use of poetry, music, and wine, and the control of the passions, all illustrated from the laws, chapter 10 through 28. Other subjects brought into the comparison are the contrast of true philosophy and spurious wisdom, theaetus, Theaetetus, the education of women, which is Republic, the passage of the laws and Republic corresponding to the Hebrew proverbs and laws of Moses on the memory of the just, riches, and poverty, and the honor due to parents on slaves, landmarks, and thieves, chapter 29 to 42. Other coincidences are found in the use of certain examples and figures of speech, in the division of a nation into 12 tribes, in the situation of the chief city, and in Plato's thoughts on faults in education, Republic, on atheism, on God and divine providence, laws. In book XII, Eusebius quotes with approval Plato's opinion on the absurdities of Greek mythology in the Timaeus, Republic, and Euthyphron, Eutiyphron, chapter 1 through 5. On steadfast adherence to truth even unto death, in the Crito and the Apology of Socrates, chapter 6 through 11, adding the testimonies of Aristobulus and Clement to the agreement of Plato and other Greek philosophers with the Hebrew Scriptures, chapter 12 and 13. The remainder of the book treats of matters in which Plato's teachings is condemned concerning the belief of the common people, Timaeus and Republic, a multitude of inferior gods and demons, the nature of the soul, Timaeus, criticized by the Platonist Severus, the worship of heavenly bodies, laws, and Timaeus, the treatment of women, laws, and Republic, unnatural vice, and laws of murder. In book XIV, the consistent truth of Hebrew doctrines adopted by Christians is contrasted with the contradictions and conflicts of Greek philosophers, showing how Plato criticizes his predecessors in the Theaetetus and Sophista, and was himself criticized by his followers in the successive academies, who in their turn are subject to the keen satire of Numenius, chapter 1 through 9. The subject continued in quotations from Porphyry, Xenophon, Plato, Plutarch, and especially from Aristotle's of philosophy Parmenides, Parmenides, who rejected the evidence of the senses of Aristippus, Metrodorus, and Protagoras, who believed them alone, and of Pyrrhonists, who believed nothing at all. The doctrines of Epicurus are refuted from the writings of Aristotle's, Plato, and Dionysius of Alexandria, chapter 21 through 47. In Book XV, the moral character of Aristotle is defended against the slanders of Epicurus and others by Aristotle. But where he differed from Plato and the Hebrews in regard to virtue and happiness, the ideas of God and his providence, the creation of the world, the fifth corporeal essence, the nature of heavenly bodies, and the immortality of the soul, his doctrines are severely criticized by Atticus and Platonists, chapters 2 through 9. His description of the soul as an intellitia is further criticized by Plotinus, Porphyry, and Atticus, 10 through 13. The Stoic philosophy is discussed by Aristotle's, Arius, Didymus, Porphyry, Longinus, and Plotinus, 14 through 22. The remainder of the book is occupied with the long extract from Plutarch de Placitis Philosophorum on the various physical theories of the world, followed by the judgment of Socrates on such questions from the memorabilia of Xenophon. After this survey of the contents of the preparation as described chiefly by Eusebius himself, I think we are in fairness bound to acquaint him of the charge of confusion in the divisions of the work and arrangement of its topics. His occasional repetitions are for the most part confined to quotations, and especially to certain well-known and striking passages of Plato, which are used more than once in different branches of the subject and with different applications. Okay, so now the literary value of the preparation of the gospel will be most fully appreciated by considering a separate list of chief fragments of the ancient authors of the preservation, of which we are indebted to Eusebius in that work, A. Fragments of Poetry. 1. An interesting epigram by Calamachu on the simplicity of the primitive statues, 99b. This is contained in a fragment of Plutarch de Daedalus Plutinsibus,